legit your
So
teacher.
I will dub thee a teacher. I am a teacher.
I need a fountain pen to
Teacher.
do that. Moonman
Oh
Chuan,
lol.
I dub thee, teacher, educator.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Pen
Noobs.
Jika. I just heard another person. There's another voice. So I'm Ryan, and together with me is Jika, and we have a guest in today's episode. Our guest is a stationery enthusiast. She has a couple of books, authoring a books on journaling and hand lettering guides. She's a proud Filipina. She's Filipino and she's with us in Manila, so we're following the same time zone. Welcome to our guest, Abbey Sy.
Hi.
Welcome,
Hi
Abby.
Ryan. Hi Jika.
Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. Okay, woohoo, woohoo. Super excited. Legit though. Legit,
Thanks
like
for having me.
I wore yellow today because I'm trying to keep on brand. And I was like, I don't have enough yellow. And then I
I like
found
the Pikachu though. Pikachu's my
Pikachu.
favorite Pokemon. So
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Ryan's other fandom right now is Pokemon Unite. So this is also for Ryan. So I'm hitting
wow.
you, not literally, obviously, hitting your color scheme and Ryan's interests in one go.
Thanks, Jika, for thinking about us.
So yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Abby. We haven't really talked much yet, like on Instagram, because I know I'm not the kind of person who's always on Instagram compared to Jika.
Yeah, I think
Jika's more
Jika's the one I'm chatting all the time
the
with
time.
like, oh, what did you buy for Hobonichi? La la la. It's like, yeah, okay, me too. Blah, blah.
Jika is the PR person on 10 Noobs podcast, and I'm just like overseeing everything because I usually tend to disconnect during weekdays, unfortunately, and then during weekends I'm like tired. I guess that's a normal for a lot of people.
Perpetually
But
tired. I know the feeling, so it's okay.
people tired and you knowing the feeling. We don't want to get to know more about what you've been doing, what you've been up to, and we know you're a very busy person and how you're able to keep up with all of the things that you're doing. But before we get to that, we have a segment which we call as Noob Discoveries. So it's a wordplay for the word new discoveries, and in every episode we do share something that we learned, something we discovered, and something that contributes to our journaling, writing, stationery experience. So do you want to start first, or maybe we can have Jika or me go first with the sharing?
You guys can. I'm gonna think of what my new discovery has been.
Okay, I'll go first because this is actually related to Abby because like we recently connected on Instagram, like ET fingers like that. So recently you guys saw the post on our Pen Noobs podcast page in the rare time these past 2 weeks that we've been posting. But what did Oh my God. Thank you, Abby. Thank you so much, PaperCon/Paper Society PH for this magical pair. Like,
Love team.
insane. Okay, you guys.
OTP.
OTP, true.
OTP.
But what do you call these? So we're just gonna identify it for people on the on the podcast. I'm holding right now Paper Book Volume 1 and Paper Book Volume 2 made by Paper Society PH. Okay, so Paper Volume 2 was released just this October 2 to 3, and Volume 1 was released. Oh my God, kailan ba to, Abby? Like, hindi ko siya naabutan.
Last year, October 2020.
All right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're 1 year apart, but they are a match made in heaven. And obviously, oh my God, even if you haven't seen it, guys, already access it online. They're easy to find. Abby always pimps it out on her Instagram and her websites. But they're obviously paper books, and they contain different kinds of paper paraphernalia that will. Oh my God, I don't have to shop anymore for journaling things. 'Cause
Are you sure?
I know I say that now, but it's true in this
For
moment.
now, for
Yeah,
now, for
it's true
now.
in this moment, diba? And that's what matters. So
Yeah, in this moment, it's been how many days since you got that? 5 days. So that's normal.
I've been keeping it at my bed, like literally beside me while I
Wow.
so like 'cause sometimes I just pick it up and then I like rifle through it because I haven't even explained to our listeners what the heck it is, but it's filled with sticker pages, different papers, different graphic designs. Like there are cards like this. Oh my god, I'm scared to open it so wide. But yeah, there are postcards.
No, you should. Actually, that's the concern a lot of people used to ask us. But you're meant to. That was the issue with the first book. That's why the second book we made it more easier to tear out. You'll notice also. I think you also posted it that there are more stickers on the second
Yeah.
book, and we purposely made it that way so it's easier to open and maybe you can start using it.
That's true. And I'm
Yeah.
still at that stage where I'm like, but it's still so pretty.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
get
do
it. You're
it
just like
yet.
you don't just put it there for display.
Yeah, exactly. But eventually they will be used. And I really appreciate, like, I'm like patting myself on the back for getting both. Because I could have gotten the
Yeah.
bundle. And I was like, no, I missed out on the last one last year. And so many local creators. I think that's one of the other things that I'm so happy about in this collection is that everything inside the paper books are made by local creators, and like everyone on on our Instagram and who knows the pen noobs, like ever since I think July we've all been about pimping our culture and Filipino-ness, and that's great. So thank you, Paper Society, of which I'm
Yay.
this part of. Get your paper books now.
Yay.
Get them. Amen.
Gosh, Jika, your sharing just it's like it enabled me to purchase also. So I will
Still available.
over the weekend. I still have something I'm going to add to my cart tomorrow morning. Very important.
Oh, Ryan, what's yours? What's your noob discovery?
So my new discovery isn't really like an object. It's more of like an accidental like vlog, which I ended up watching earlier today because I was just looking at a lot of Hobonichi um, videos while preparing or prepping myself for my purchase tomorrow, which I need to do at 10 in the morning exactly. Because there's
Oh,
a
this is
specific
for
cover.
the Hobonichi. Yeah. Is it Inuyasha?
No, 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 the tote cover, the one that's
Ah,
big.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was planning to buy that like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but Jake and I were talking, and it was like, oh, we can wait for a few minutes, and then, oh my
Sold
gosh,
out?
oversnap. Yeah,
Yeah,
sold out.
Yeah.
Sold out in
Hobonichi
like 10.
buyers are wild.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh. So yeah, tomorrow that's my plan. I'm going to
It's
buy it.
on
So
on the
hopefully,
planner already.
yeah,
Scheduled.
guys,
Add to
hopefully if
cart.
you listen to this episode, hopefully I was able to buy it. If not, well, at least you knew that I had an intention. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. Okay, so my new discovery this time around is again, it's not an object really, but what I was watching a bunch of Hobonichi videos like recently. I ended up watching a video titled "Inside the Weird Microeconomies of Planner Consumerism." So it's by
Oh my gosh, you have to link it to me. I love watching stuff like that.
it's
Same.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I will link it. And it's by Anoma Lily. So she, I think, is into economics. So she talks a lot about consumerism.
Mm-mm.
And I liked how she theorized how this whole planner consumerism had its boom like 10 years ago. And it's really because of Facebook. And then it's also interesting how, like any person, no matter how hard you try to be intellectual and you try to justify things, you cannot stop yourself from being attached or being attracted to Kobunichi products. So, despite the rationalness of her arguments, she still actually bought a Kobunichi. So there, that's what I like about that because it's both like smart conversation about planners and actually something I've been asking myself like how come there are so many videos
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
unboxing of people unboxing it. I mean it's therapeutic but at the same time you're gonna ask yourself like, that's a lot. It's a lot of content.
I think I think people are curious what people buy. That's also a factor I'm trying to figure out because I'm kind of into psychology and how people think. But I'm not good at it. I just like thinking like why would they buy this? Why would she buy this? Or why would he buy this? And I think that really factors in with unboxing, maybe.
Mm,
Could be.
I
She
like
also,
that.
sorry, this is geeky
It's
concept,
okay.
but
I
she
love geeky stuff. Come on, continue,
talks about
continue.
this thing called lipstick effect. So it's like when when you shop, when you go shopping, you always, when it's a stable, like it's a stable economy, you would buy luxury goods. You would buy luxury bags,
Mm.
shoes, cars, everything expensive. But if you're in a crisis, a lot of times people will resort to mini luxuries. So that's what they call it, a lipstick effect. Like girls would not buy designer bags and shoes, but they would buy instead makeup to compensate for not purchasing something big. And so she did argue that buying Hobonichi is like a lipstick effect, wherein you
But it's
don't really.
expensive.
No,
It's not
right?
super expensive. It's not as expensive as like a handbag, but
Yeah, that's true. Or a fountain pen.
True.
it's still expensive. But it's not as expensive as like other, products that you would normally buy when it's not a crisis.
That's so
So yeah,
cool. I will now apply this lipstick effect concept to my thinking process. I would say thought process when it comes to buying stuff, but yeah, super interesting. Then yeah,
yeah,
I think that yeah, it's really true.
That's very true. Like when life was still going on pre-pandemic, I remember walking all the way from work to the nearest Watsons. So like the local drugstore, and it's like I had a bad day. I'm gonna buy lip tint today. It's only 200 pesos. I feel
Yeah, or
good.
like a face mask or something, just like a little treat. I think in stationery lingo, that's kind of like I'll buy a roll of washi tape or stickers or
Stickers.
and then it just adds up and you have a big collection at home. So
that's
kinda is the
true.
same thing.
Oh, no more lipstick, just more stationery stuff. So very guilty. I don't know how to feel right now. But yeah, I learned something. Thank you, Ryan, for your noob discovery. I've called out.
That's my. Okay, I think we can now hear from Abby. I'm interested
I
in her
think
new disc.
I don't know what would I talk about. I mean, it's funny. So recently, I don't know if this is like stationery related, but I think it kind of is like in terms of journaling. So yesterday, I I was reading an ebook about self-care and then I got into the moon cycles and I'm into tarot and stuff and oracle astrology. I have that woo-woo stuff in me somewhere in my system. So yesterday I was reading about moon cycles and I got into a whole rabbit hole of crystals and it's a whole thing apparently. I don't know. It's also another thing. But what's interesting is I found out about the moon cycles and how you can use it as like a way to journal. And since I'm super used to journaling daily or like having a regular update of what I do and stuff, I thought it'd be interesting to pattern my journaling through the moon cycle. So I feel like is this journaling level 2 because it feels a little bit more intermediate. I don't know, I kind of think in a school setting most of the time. So it's also a bit more intuitive, so I'm kind of thinking when to start it, maybe in the next new moon because the new moon was just last Wednesday. So I think it should be an interesting way to get into like more self discovery, I would say. So yeah, but I'm still like slowly getting. I don't really want to jump into it and get like super overwhelmed with everything going on, but it's an interesting thing because something about the moon and how its cycle affects how we think and phases of our lives and stuff, and I'm super into those things. So I guess that was my discovery. I don't know if it counts, but
It counts.
Yeah, well,
journaling level 2 2.0. But I kind of want to get into it and maybe do a video about it so I could like explain to other people how this moon journaling goes. But apparently there's a moon journal market. I've looked up. Of course I do market research also, so I did look up and there are journals that are meant for moon phases every month for a whole year. So it's an interesting. I will keep you guys posted how that goes, but it's an interesting subtopic or sub theme that can be done for journaling and documenting. So
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
it's
It
so deep
totally counts.
though.
It sounds
It's
deep.
very self-reflection-y, and yeah, it's a lot. So I'm still trying to figure out how to slowly, not like jump into it, kind of don't overwhelm myself.
Yeah, I tried going down the rabbit hole of crystals recently because I did get tarot cards and I already have, I think, one
Yay,
set of
tarot!
crystals. So I have quite a few. And when you go down the rabbit hole, they're like, okay, these are the crystals for clarity and the crystals for other purposes, and like essentially resetting your cards for whenever you. And I was like, I can't yet.
Cleansing and stuff. There's
Yeah.
a lot. There's a lot.
So it's
Maybe
difficult enough.
slowly getting into it is key.
Yeah, and like also it's been a bit difficult to keep up with the tarot journal because I did put
Mm.
pressure in myself like at the very
Oh
start of it.
no.
I know. So, and I'm kind of like you where I want to like do it at a meaningful moment or start something or restart something at a very meaningful moment, and I'm just waiting for that. I don't know, for that moment for me to go back to it and maybe not put as much pressure on myself with the tarot cards because like I'm supposed to learn from them about myself rather than
Yeah.
the other way around.
Take it easy.
Yeah. Speaking of
Oh,
taking
nice.
it easy, how is everyone? Noob Discoveries is done.
So, speaking of everyone being busy and preoccupied with a lot of things, we do want to get to know more about you, Abby, and how you actually get to juggle all of the things that you're doing. But we'll start off first with pretty much the basics that we do talk about with our guests, and that's really their journey when it comes to stationaries and everything else related to journaling. So we wanted to know first, like, how did you get started on your journaling, planning, and stationery journey?
I think I've been subconsciously doing it since I was a kid. So I think my first memory of it was in grade 6. I saw a notebook at National Bookstore. I was like, "Oh, I want to get one so I can write about my thoughts." Wow, deep. I was a very introverted teen. I didn't know about introversion, the MBTI, so I had a hard time trying to make sense of what's happening in my life. And that was the first motivation for me to pick up a journal. But I think planning, I got into it in college because, you don't have an assignment notebook in college. So you're like, oh, you have to plan everything accordingly. So my first, probably one of my favorite planners, I got a Keep Calm and Carry On planner during my first year in college. So I think that was like the earliest memory of me trying to organize things. And of course, back then, I didn't know there were so many different planner types. I just wanted something with a nice cover and like proper space to write stuff. Those are my early two memories of planning and journaling. But I would say like the kind of journaling I do now, like with all the stationery and stuff, it started maybe 5 years ago. Um, that was the time I also discovered Hobonichi. It has to
Woohoo.
be Hobonichi. So during that time, I think I was doing journaling, but I didn't know how to do it regularly. It was just like, oh, okay, I will journal, I write about stuff. So from the time I did pick up a notebook before, I did switch to like doodling, filling up a page with random stuff. So kind of started there. And then I got into lettering. So for people who haven't heard of me, I used to do hand lettering. I would say I still do it, but I kind of like graduated from it. And then I actually did lettering on my journals. So it kind of led to that indirectly. So most of my journal entries before had no stationery. There were letterings, like phrases and written words and hand-drawn letters. And then the stationery thing happened probably after I published my first book. So my second book, my publisher said, "Oh, you wanna do a book about journaling?" It's like, I can, but I don't really know like the whole thing about journaling. So, a fun fact is back then when I used to write books every year, that was kind of tiring. I would travel at least for the spring or like a certain time of the year, even if I'm working on the book. So that time I went to Japan. And of course, Japan, I went to Loft with a friend and we both bought Hobonichi, Hobonichi Techo Spring Edition. So that was the first, like, oh, Hobonichi, wow, a work of art. My first, it was like, wow, this was a whole thing. Of course, I didn't know how to, put the stationery together. Like, what do you write here? You have to write every day, one day a page, and yeah, I think that sort of like led on because every year I would start journaling, but I did switch though. I think I'm not a very consistent Hobonichi user. I used one for a year. After 2 years, I stopped, and then I started again. Now I try to get it once a year, but yeah, I think that's where I started. Yeah,
Ooh, Hobonichi.
it was
Everything's
like
Hobonichi keeps coming back.
Hobonichi. Yeah, it's like yeah. I thought I would outgrow it, but here I am still buying Hobonichi.
Yeah,
Still
but
a fan.
you're the factor as to why I actually trimmed down my purchases.
Oh really?
Yeah, exactly.
We
Because like,
support that. I mean, I like buying journals, but I also want to be more mindful also of what I'm getting and what it has each purpose it has, I guess, for every journal. Was
so
it our discussion on
yeah,
Instagram?
it was our very first conversation. Like you're like, oh, what are you getting? And I was like very indecisive, and you're like, I'm getting sunshine. And then I realized I could do that. I could just get my sunshine. And I mean, it's still a lot considering, but it was a lot less than I had originally
Oh,
planned. So
that's
I guess,
nice.
yeah, ayun siya. And yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm really proud of myself. Thank you, Abby, for exercising temperance in a very vulnerable purchasing moment.
You're
Amen.
welcome.
I'm so proud of you guys. Well, actually, this is a contestable like statement that I'm gonna say. But you know, when I started, watching people talk about their purchases, I'm at awe with people having or buying a lot of things. But now I'm quite bewildered seeing
Yeah.
people purchase a lot and then they don't know what they're gonna do. So I'm like, what do you want to do? Like, did you think it through before you purchase? Like, again, people have their own
Yeah.
preferences, not to judge them. It's my current view now about all of this purchasing that's happening with planners and journals. But yeah, that's part of the process, right? That's part of the growing, maturing process that we have when it comes to journaling and planning. So actually, we are interested. Like, do you have anyone you look up to in the community, or like someone who inspires you or has inspired you in the past, and you emulate that person in your early days?
Not really. I mean, I used to look up to a lot of people. Wow, this is tea time. But I had to inspire myself. No,
Oh,
no, but
lovely.
actually, I don't look up to people that much in my same field. Does that make sense? Like
Hmm.
most of the people I follow are actually writers. I don't think I'm an author, but I don't write every day. But some of the people I constantly follow on Instagram, subscribe to newsletters, they're mostly writers, or I think one of them is used to be an editor for a big company. So I'm just gonna name drop some of the people I really look up to, but these are not related to like journaling or stuff. I get so intimidated with seeing other people's work. I don't know if that's just me, because it's like, oh, I'm not doing good enough. I don't want to feel that way. So some of the notable people I follow on social and online is Austin Cleon. Have you heard of him? He's the author of Still Like an Artist and Show Your
Oh
Work
yeah,
and Keep Going. I
yeah.
love his blog. It's austincleon.com. That's the only blog I open every single day. There's always some gem I'm gonna find there about writing or like creative advice. Another one I follow is Mason Curry.
Mhm.
He not related to Steph Curry or but sorry, I really had to. But he has this, I don't know if you guys know Substack. It's a
Yes.
newsletter based platform, and he has a Substack called Subtle Maneuvers, and it talks about creative struggles. You see the pattern where I'm going, the writing process, the creative process. So things like that really help me sort of ground myself in terms of being a creative and how to navigate through this journey. And then lastly, there is Jocelyn K. Glai. She actually has a podcast. You should check it out. It's Hurry Slowly. It's really great because in a sea of productivity related podcasts and like productivity as a whole, she is reminding us to hurry but make it slowly. So there are a lot of topics in the podcast where they talk about productivity, attention, time, stuff like that. And I really love listening to podcasts like that. I think there was also a topic about gentle productivity or something, and I really like or tender productivity, I forgot, but it's really these are really things that I really value as a creative person. Even if I'm very very productive, I still try to find ways to slow down. And she also has a class that I took last year. I think that really reframed my perspective with creativity and productivity. It's called Reset. So I'm gonna send you the link so that you
Yes,
can check it
please.
out also. I think she opens a class every year, a batch, so you can check it out. Yeah, they're not really art related, but I love following writers. I feel like I feel seen when they talk about stuff like that.
Well, we see the trend because like it doesn't have to be art related or journaling related
I'm a
actually.
very contrasting person, if that makes sense. Like I like it when I like my friends are not all artists, and I have like other friends in different fields, and I really appreciate it because we get to have a lot of meaningful conversations about different perspectives and stuff. So
Totally makes sense. The world becomes bigger when
yeah,
you're not in the
for
same echo
sure.
chamber. So yeah. And speaking like we noticed that it's not obviously it's not related to pens or stationery and whatever, but it is related to creativity. So our
Yeah.
next question actually pertains to what do you think like if you were to like describe your creative style over the period that you've been journaling and doing your art, what would that creative style be described as? And like, what do you think it says about you? Yeah, personality question.
Lol. Actually, I think one thing that's always recurring with my work is that it has like a vintage feel to it. I don't know if that's too broad, or it's like ever since I started lettering also, my whole goal was I wanted to make retro style letters. I
Hmm.
don't know why, but I've always been fascinated with like Bauhaus. I'm a super geek with these like art movements and stuff. But I really like Bauhaus, Impressionism, abstract expressionism. I would say also for the body of work I do, like it's so hard because I don't really have a work. Like I'm not a painter where I have like all of my artworks there. It's like I put out a photo or I make a collage or I do a journal entry, and they all usually have that vintage vibes, and they're always warm colors. I feel like if I was a season, I'm autumn. For obvious reasons. I always like if people ask me what's your style? Oh, just think of like autumn season, that's me. So yeah, with the diarist it was also a yellow spine. Yeah, I think that sort of is my style. It's funny because it's rooted with also the fact that I'm an earth sign. I'm a Capricorn. So I think it oh, you're also Capricorn. Ooh,
Yes.
cool. Oh yes, we love Capricorns. Overworking people, yes. Just kidding. But admit it.
It's
So yeah, I
true.
also like green. So I think that those are really key things that I try to put into my work. I think consciously also and unconsciously. So yeah, they're retro, vintagey, um, and warm.
Yeah, Abby. Speaking of, remember that time you were doing your IG live for the diarist, and
Yeah.
I love your
Oh my.
nails.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love your
yeah.
lipstick, and then I realized that it just reminds me of the '70s wallpaper.
Yeah. I
Like
super love the
the
70s.
the contrast is not doing it justice, but
I know,
like
no, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
like
It has that like trippy vibe. So I also speaking of vintage, I also like history in general. I feel like if I went back to college, I would have taken that as one of my majors. I really like history, how things originated. Specifically the 60s to 80s era. Also fun fact, so my name is Abby's Abbey. My real name is Abigail, but I got the Abbey spelling from the Beatles, Abbey Road. Yeah, I love the Beatles. So I feel like I was like if I could travel back in time, I'd probably go to those like times. And I really love old music also. So I guess I'm an old soul.
Yeah, you're an old soul. That's what I'm.
And then like with the fountain pens and journaling, it matches the whole thing. It's a whole
yeah,
package. So can.
absolutely. The
I
earth
love
sign
it.
is strong. The 70s wallpaper is strong. I mean, also like that 70s carpet in The Shining.
I don't know that.
Oh,
I haven't
eventually.
watched that though.
I'll send you a link. I'll
Okay.
send you a link. That's very iconic. So yeah, it's your aesthetic. Ryan's aesthetic is
Blue.
blue. Blue.
Mine is no. Since you're talking about earth signs,
Yeah.
I did try to dissect mine. So I'm Gemini is air, so it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
more. Yeah. So I'm into blue. I did try getting into earth tones, but I realized it's just not working. Or it is. I consciously choose, but when I do unconsciously choose, I end up with blue. So that's what I realized most recently. And then Jika, how about for you? How can you
Uh,
relate your
kalat. Sabog, for lack of a better term, all over the place. I like brights. Like I super like brights. I hate it whenever whenever fountain pen companies like produce a limited edition January, late December or Capricorn pen. They're like it's gonna be gray or
Oh really?
brown
I didn't
or
know
dark
that.
red.
I was
It's
assuming they should have made like garnet or something. That's the birthstone, I think, for
yeah,
January.
it is. And it's always dark and broody. And I'm like, I like neon pink. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm anally retentive. I'm like obsessive about detail and everything. Ryan should know because he looks at my lessons and everything. But like before this recording, I was making a test, that kind of Capricorn energy. So I tried to negate it with neons.
Makes sense though.
Yeah.
Contrast.
Contrast inside and outside. Clean outside. Not okay.
And that's why we're here because this is our therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So yeah,
what's next?
we do enjoy a lot of things no with the hobby, but we do want to know like for you, what for you is the most enjoyable part or what is the best part of being in the hobby? This journaling, planning, and collecting and doing all of these stationery.
It's kind of funny because even if it's a hobby, it's also part of my job. So it's kind of also like I can't blur the lines. So I would say the best part of it though is having a community to share it with. I think before, actually my whole idea of community has always been skewed. I don't know why, but I always felt like, oh, community, there's going to be a leader and then there's someone like telling people stuff, and I don't like that idea. So I never really entertained the idea of community, but nowadays the stationery community, journaling community, small business community in the Philippines has like peaked, and we are here for it. And I think that's also one of the best things about journaling is, apart from making your own journal pages and decorating them, you talk to friends who love stationery also. And then like I think during the Hobonichi time we were buying, I have so many friends who are into Hobonichi, so different chat groups would have different ways on deciding how to buy, what to buy. They would make a pros and cons list. I think someone even did like a price comparison list with like a teko kaigi. And it's so interesting how everyone knows what they want or doesn't know what they want. And it's also interesting to see how the styles really vary for many people. Like I could have this like vintage style, we have kawaii style people, minimalist style journaling, and junk journaling, and all these different things just come together to celebrate stationery and like the art of writing and documenting. And I think that's so interesting because before I didn't know who to share it with, but now like at our Discord and Patreon, it's like every day someone will talk about, oh guys, I bought the Hobonichi today, or like, oh, I already got my new stationery for this 10-10 sale, and everyone's like, wow, it's so nice. And it feels great to like have like, what is karama in English? Like have someone
Yeah.
to be
It's like
like hyping
osmosis.
you up, kinda like,
Yeah.
yes, you got it, you got the last washi roll, or like you got that FP. Like when I buy fountain pens, I have to tell a lot of people so that I feel accountable. No, so oh my gosh, I bought this, la la la, and then they're like, wow, you bought it, good job. It's like, yeah, applause.
That's so
But generally it's really the people with it. It's fun to share this hobby because a lot of people like doing it, and everyone has their own input and how they do it, and it's just nice to see a lot of ideas and inspiration online.
That's true. And honestly, Abby, we wouldn't even have invited you, like have the opportunity to invite you if it wasn't for the networking of the community. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're new. We started in like late March, early April, and then next thing you know, like a week later, we meet Eunice digitally. Next
Thanks,
thing you
Uni.
know, I know. Thanks, Eunice. Last episode, ikaw yun. The next thing you know, like 3 months later, she's driving to your village. She doesn't know you. She's never literally seen you, and then she's like, "Hey, look, it's Abbey Sy." And then like you can talk, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I am so shy. Wait, wait." But it's the community talaga, and like there are levels of disbelief when you like come to terms with the fact that the community has grown so big and it still remains so accepting and
Yeah.
affirming, and like there are always two tones of people whenever, like Ryan's an example of this, whenever I send him like a pen, or like when he tells me that he's made a purchase, the only two tones that appear is like a tone of yes, good job, I am so proud of you for getting that pen, and then the other tone is, oh, you can pay for it later, like you can do installments. It's always like absolutely joyous, or the other one is like a bit tempered but still consenting.
True. True enough.
Thank you, community.
So actually, since you did mention about community and sharing all of these things, journaling tends to be a practice or something that people do on their own. But we do want to know what made you share your work to the community. Like, I know you did mention already about community, but like, was there anything that like prompted you or like triggered you or inspired you to share your work to others?
I think so. I actually started on Tumblr.
Mhm.
So I grew up being, Tumblr. I moved from Tumblr to Instagram, and the whole thing about sharing my work has been a pivotal part of my process, I would say, because I feel like, I don't know, I am an introvert, right? So when you post something on the internet, you're just like, oh, I hope someone sees it and resonates with me. So ever since, I've always had that habit. And I think it's also creeping up on me now because I overshare and stuff. That's why I'm not as regular on social media anymore. But back then, like 2010, I would share photos of works in progress. So I really started from wanting that to document. I feel like documenting is such a fun activity, and I want to share that experience to other people to take like more notice of their own lives, like daily happenings, capturing moments, and I also love photography. So I think with journals it came naturally because I came from, I used to share everything online. I mean I still do. But for Instagram, my Instagram started it's actually going to be my Instagram anniversary, I found out on October 19.
Anniversary.
So yeah, I don't know how long, 2011, it's been a while.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
10 years. Oh my god.
Wow.
Wild.
10 years
10
anyway.
years.
Yeah, so before I used to share coffee shops, I love to travel like places and stuff, and then moved to hand lettering, my creative outputs and stuff. And then I guess when it went to journaling, it naturally just occurred to me like, hey guys, check out what I did today. Here's maybe indirectly, I didn't know that that was like a way for people to get ideas, and I found it useful because if I was on the other end of the screen, it's like, oh, you can do this with a journal, I want to try it. So I think that was also the motive, because I feel like I'm a fake teacher because I like to teach, and not like in school setting, but I like the idea of like teaching and sharing ideas. Like when I learn something new, I usually tell my patrons about it or friends, like, guys, did you know that la 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 la. That's my geek level. And I think with journaling, there's a difference though. Like I have a personal journal that's never on social media, so that's something that I try to maintain for sanity's sake. And then the one on social is really more of, oh, here are some ideas that I recently learned how to journal like this, or recently I'm using a new stationery brand or something, because I don't know, people like it when I talk about brands, or maybe like they want to hear my thoughts on products, and it's interesting. Like, I didn't know it would influence people to buy stuff, but that was also my motive. Like, if I want to talk about something, I use journaling as, I guess, an indirect medium to do that, and to showcase an idea or a new something new that people can get information from or learn from.
Eh. Oh my gosh, that's so in depth. That's very, very
Sorry,
in
I'm
depth.
deep. Yeah, I'm
Don't
a deep
say
person.
sorry, but it still makes a lot of sense. Like, it ties in a lot to our interest, to our character, and I love the whole like narrative path, because teaching English class is like, oh,
Yeah.
we started with coffee and now we're like into hand lettering and then journaling, and like it makes me curious actually what's gonna happen next. Moon journaling. I can tell.
Maybe the next year I'm a witch. I will become a witch. Who
I
knows?
was so excited. You have a moon journal, and then the design. Oh my gosh, I can imagine already the design.
I have to
Wow.
scout for moon related stationery now. That's bad. I thought I was on ban already. So like I have to think about it first.
I have to review if there are like moon things in the paper books now.
I don't think
Maybe
there is, cuz
stars.
I mean the second book, our loose theme for that was creative journey. So
See?
there are a lot of plant related stuff there, like growth and
Mm.
self-care. I think those are the common patterns you'll find there.
My body is still ready for anything in this book. My body is ready, guys. Okay, I'm getting distracted. So I know that Abby was talking a lot about like her Patreon, her Instagram anniversary. Happy anniversary!
Thanks. I
Yay!
just realized it's 10 years, so maybe I have to post something.
Your
Maybe.
Instagram is already in fourth grade.
10 years old.
Grade four. But yeah, like, so well, both of you know that we're relatively new. I mean, in the whole scene, right? Because I mean, regardless of the fact that we had Starbucks planners in 2010 or something, we've just gotten into the hobby like more actively and mindfully. And your platform or your platforms have been integral to that journey, obviously. But for the for the noobs out there just like us, do you want to orient them as to the differences between like ABC, Shop ABC, the YouTube content, the Patreon content, and everything?
Sure. Okay. So, first is on Instagram. So you'll find my main Instagram. Usually that's for like Abby updates, or sometimes I dump stuff about work. My life as a creative person, I would say, used to be travel themed, but now we are, at home. And mostly I talk about journaling and my creative life, I guess. And then I do have another account which is called Shop Abbey Sy. So it leads to my shop. It's abbeysy.store. For the shop, it actually, I've been running it for 5 years, but I only got really like more into it last year when the pandemic happened. I was like, wait, I want to make more products that have more intention and like have a specific purpose. So ever since that pivot, I've always envisioned the shop, or I hope that's what people come across when they look at the shop. It's like an avenue for people to hone their skills or get the tools they need for their creative journey. So you have journals, Japanese tools. I actually brought in some stuff that I really want, like my favorite Japanese pens and stuff. I put them in, like, you have to get this because it's Abby's favorite. And then washi tapes, stationery essentials, and then we also have zines. Those are the things I'm really proud of, like making the zines. Also, what else? Yeah, zines, and we have like special boxes. So yeah, Jika, you got the zine box. Thanks for getting a box. We collaborate with different artists, or usually there's a specific theme. Like coming in November is the autumn one, which is a bestseller. Like I think last year it sold out in an hour, and so many people got mad at me. It's like, it's not my fault, but okay, we're gonna make more. So yeah, that's the shop. And then the other one, we just became more active late last year, is a community. It's at alwaysbecreating.art. It somehow leads to Patreon. So Patreon is a whole thing that I have been chickening out for 3 years, and then I finally launched last year because actually, this is more of like from a business perspective, because I had to close the shop for a couple of months. So I didn't really know what to do. So I was like, wait, maybe I can sit down and finally figure out this Patreon thing. And surprisingly, it did work out. So that's the whole idea behind Patreon. And for Patreon, it's more of if you want to get involved with fellow community members, and we call it an art club, but we don't want to be exclusive. Like, I think there's a common judgment that's, people from Abbey's art club. Like, no, anyone can join. And like, we're super, like, we're a big, I would say, big barkada of people talking about stationery, about journaling, and we also connect a lot on Discord. So every month there are different um rewards depending on the tier. I don't think I'll get into the tiers because they're very specific, but there are different rewards. Like, every month we have a journaling hangout. I think that was from the last interview I was listening to Uni, and she was like, "Oh, I just came from the journaling hangout," or she attended one. Journaling hangout. We also have digital printables every month, and then for the higher tiers there are classes. See, I told you I'm a fake teacher. So there are classes, and there are also resource toolkits, for example, ebooks or films that I want to share with with my patrons. Like, oh guys, this inspired me on my creative journey. This specific documentary, this biopic on this artist. So that's the whole Patreon thing. So I think I'd like to call it also like a mini academy or something, or art club, a bit more informal. So we call it art club. And then lastly is my YouTube channel. Actually, my YouTube channel is like, what is it? It's a mix of a lot of things, because I haven't figured out what I really want to do with it. Like, recently I just finished wrapping up a 5-part series on productivity. That's always been something I wanted to do. Like, I felt like, oh, I was a director and a producer. But apart from that, I also like filming vlogs. Very casual. I would like to call it like digital diaries. It's more like what happens behind the scenes, what I'm doing in preparation for a shop update. I also recently have done packing videos. So it's a mix of everything I do as a creative person, maybe. But since it's months, expect like plan reviews coming soon and like journaling related stuff, because I really wanna get that out of the way, because a lot of people have been asking me like, how did you find your current planner? Can you give us like tips if I should get that also next year or find an alternative? So yeah, it's a lot. I hope that explained everything. I
Yeah.
think that's so far everything that I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paper Society?
Oh yeah, Paper Society. So Paper Society is a group of paper lovers. We're actually 3 girls, and we all love stationery, and that was the whole idea behind it. And I think, yeah, the first one we did was in 2019. It was an offline event. It was a, convention was a thing before. So it was our first convention where we gathered a lot of makers. And the thing is, 3 of us are also business owners. Like, I think you're familiar with one of them. So Christine, who runs Everyday Explorers Co. She's one of my super close friends in the biz. So me, CH, and Coco, and we all love paper. So the whole idea behind Paper Society, we really wanted to highlight up and coming artists. Actually, for the paper book, we are the ones who are scouting people. Like, oh, look at this artist. I want to add her in the book. So that's how we we pull people, and we're kind of in the stalking mode where we try to discover other artists and makers who we want to, who deserve a wider audience. And I think that's always been one of our goals for Paper Society, through our events. And yeah, we recently had the online marketplace, online stationery fair. Thanks for buying. So yeah, I think that is it, kind
I
of.
think
Yeah.
I think it's also much clearer to me now, and as a future investor in Patreon. What tier? And I know you told us I'm not gonna go into tiers, but like, what is your recommended tier? Is it of entry, or
I
like
would
which one's
say
most mabenta?
the maker tier
Me-
has the most ones because of the journaling hangout. Because it's fun. It's
Oh.
really like we have an hour or so where we just talk about stuff, and then we finish a journal spread together. So one of the nice things about that is if you haven't journaled for a week or 2 weeks, you can just attend the hangout and feel like you're journaling with us. So it feels like you have that accountability system. And after the hangout, usually on Discord, everyone spams with their journal spread, like, oh, I did this today. I'm so glad I finally got back to journaling after a few days, a few weeks. So if you're looking for friends or like accountability in that department.
I didn't know that the journaling hangout was literally journaling, and I mean, like, I sound stupid the way I'm saying it right now, but I didn't know that it was literally journaling and hanging out.
Yeah, it was like it's a Zoom meeting every mid month.
Oh gosh.
Accountability buddy.
Yeah, I
For her
need an
journey.
accountability buddy because like pen noobs is one thing and it's about collection and acquisition and like what you've got and what you plan on getting, obviously. But I'm being honest right now because of the current turmoil of life and checking and Hell Week. I haven't journaled since August.
Oh.
Intense, right? Since August. And the first time Abby and I spoke, I remember telling her, my Hobonichi 5 year has a backlog of 2 months. And then she
Oh,
was
you
like,
told me
yeah,
that. Yeah.
And then you're like, kaya pa yan. And then here I am plus 3 months. But with my dailies.
Kaya pa din yan. 3
I
months
know.
is nothing. You can do it.
Our journaling hangout for accountability.
I think we should do that, Jika.
Let's do it. Also, actually, like we plan on sort of doing it at work too with our friends there. So that could be interesting. We just don't know how to like do it. So it could be great. Abby, thank you. Parang
You're welcome.
lifesaver.
Yeah, so actually we do want to get to know more about your community so that in case our listeners are also interested joining your Patreon community. So how would you describe the community? Earlier you mentioned it's like an art club, but
Yeah.
like if you could like describe the community maybe in an adjective or two, what would be that best word to describe it?
Such a Miss Universe question.
I
I
know, right?
think like in general, it's very welcoming. Even I was kind of nervous before because actually I didn't know about Discord until Patreon happened because there's an integration with Discord, and actually one of my patrons volunteered to be a mod. She's super nice. And then I'm like, I'm not the most sociable person. I'm very selective with people I talk to. But that really having Patreon really helped me break out of that shell and just talk to people. And it also seemed before like I think people have thought that I'm kind of, I don't know, mataray, or like I'm not as approachable because I'm so serious online. Yeah, some people have told me that. So I think this really helped break the barrier, and I think other people are so shocked, like, oh, she's actually so nice. I was like, yeah. What do you think? Like,
So fun. Yeah.
I mean, really, thanks. Actually, I have I'm very corny. I love puns, so my friends are so sick of this. Like, I have so many fountain pen jokes that it's gotten out of hand in the past few months because we keep talking about inks and stuff. So yeah. But anyway, I think our community is very welcoming, and usually like there will be like one random patron who will go to the introduce yourself page, for example, when they just entered the server, and then it's like, oh, hi, I'm new here, I'm looking forward to learn more. And you'll see like a string of like 20 plus people replying like, oh, welcome to our club, we're so excited to have you, make sure to just ask us for any questions or for any stuff. And it's really like, oh, I'm so proud of you guys, like, thanks, because usually I reply late and I don't really get to check some of the servers on time, and usually someone vouches in behalf of me, and I really appreciate that because I don't have the liberty of checking every hour. So for example, someone will ask like, oh, what did Abby mention, what planner was she using, la, la, la. Someone would say, oh, I think she's using this. So I was like, okay, cool, they know me well. So yeah, I think that's very encompassing, welcoming. They're also very kind. Like last week, I was really in a bad place last week, so it was also fitting that we had this interview like after, like towards the middle of October. And then I posted like, oh, I'm so sorry you don't have a video this week on YouTube. I feel such a failure. And then I had to move a lot of my rewards. Instead of the first week rewards, I moved them all to the second week. Because for my Patreon, every week you get a reward. So it's kind of like a, I don't know, surprise reveal kind of thing. I know other creators just drop it all in one go. I like surprising people. Like every week you get a treat. So I told them, oh, I'm so sorry. The first week will be moved because I really want to take like 4 days off just, to recuperate and stuff. And so many people commented and like, no, it's totally fine. We understand what's happening to you. Just take a break. So I really feel the love. And I am not a very emotional person. So I think that really helped me like, oh, I feel so supported and I feel super grateful for them.
Hard relate.
I
You
love it.
sound you sound like, I know you, ever since a while ago you're saying, "Oh, I'm a fake teacher and everything," but everything that you've just said so far is like an ideal classroom. But
Oh,
you did,
really?
yeah.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like Abby, your Beatles, your students are
Beatles! Oh my gosh, I kind of miss school. Kinda lang.
But it's exactly that. I like we have Beatles in our own, like we have Discord servers for our
Oh,
classes,
yeah, for
right?
school.
Um,
Cute!
it's adorable, and like it's so great that you don't have to engage as much, and they're self-sustaining. But you can see, like you're watching, oh, they're growing, they're actually succeeding. They're using the things that I provided with them with, and it's so affirming. So like the whole fake teacher aspect is not applicable. Legit, you're
So
teaching.
I will dub the a teacher. I'm a teacher.
I need a fountain pen to
Teacher.
do that.
Oh
Moonman 21.
lol.
I love thee. Teacher. Educator.
Thanks. Thanks. Lols.
even your, even your acronym, the ABC, is very team.
Yeah. That was actually very funny because I don't know how that happened, but actually, fun fact, my siblings are ABC. That's why I'm Abby, and then I have my two siblings, Bernice and Clarence. So it's ABC. So I stole it from there. My mom calls us the ABC kids. So fun fact also, I think I kind of am meant for the alphabet of things. Like my dad, his name is A, like Abraham, and then my mom is Z for Zab.
Oh.
So we're like, oh, we're A to Z. Haha. But anyway, yeah, with ABC, that was also such a witty thought that we had before. That's why the first book was entitled The ABCs of Hand Lettering. And then the next one was the journaling one. But anyway, eventually I got sick of the ABC thing. So not everything has to be ABC. And of course, for international books, they're like, we don't care who ABC is. We just need like a sellable title, to put on Amazon and stuff. So it was very straightforward. But yeah, the ABCs came from. I'm glad you noticed that because a lot of people noticed that. And I think there was also like a like people didn't know how to, how, sorry, this is like language stuff, like ABCs without apostrophe means like the instructions, right? Which
Mhm.
ABCs. And then usually for like listings in bookshops and stuff, they put it with an apostrophe and I'm like, oh, why?
Correct.
Why? I can't tell them, but like, oh, super stress. Yeah, so it was like a language thing and I'm like, anyway, I meant to do the ABCs because not, I think people probably expected like, where's the ABC here? Oh. Anyway, I'm over it, but I still remember it.
It's a beautiful thing. I remember the first time that I saw the ABCs of hand lettering. Wow, iconic. Sorry, Abby. So like you totally understand why I was totally shy at the start, but now I'm just like this. Like this would be wrong. But I remember, I think I was late to the game around 3 years ago. I saw it in like the stationery portion of SM
Yeah.
mega mall, and it was just so prominent there, right beside their new Faber-Castell brush pens and their new Tombow brush pen sets where the colors are already coordinated. And I was starting to get into the hobby, trying or like deciding, will I do it, will I not do it? And then I walked away at that time, but look where I am now. I mean, literally, look where I am
Takes
right now.
time. Timing is everything.
Yes, timing is everything. And a pandemic apparently has its perks because you find out what you enjoy in a pandemic. Your products included. So thank you.
Thanks.
Yay!
So actually, this is the part where I'm so excited about. I do want to get to know your non-negotiables. So like, what would you recommend? What does Abby recommend for 2022?
Or for
Are we gonna
now.
talk about my Teko Kaigi, or I can let you guys know what I'm planning for next year?
You
My
can.
non-negotiables. Actually, it's so funny. I never had a set planner for every year. That's why I give myself a lot of problems for it, because my work, maybe it's also because of my job, it changes every year. So for example, as I told you guys, I'm writing a book this year, but I didn't write a book last year. So that also shifts a lot of my decision making when it comes to choosing the planners I need or the journals I need. And then yeah, so I don't really have a set system every year. That's why usually by June or July, mid-year, I am one of those people who are already thinking of what to get for next year. I'm doing my pros and cons list already. Non-negotiables, of course, I will recommend the Paper Society PH quarterly planner. I don't know if you've seen that,
I
but
have.
we made that because we knew that there was no planner that had the same layout, at least for from what we know of. I mean, it does resemble the cousin a bit, but my problem with the cousin is the week's view is at the start of the planner, and I hated like switching back and forth because I don't have a Hobonichi cover. I just cover mine with plastic, so I don't have a bookmark to like mark the pages, and I found that really tiring. So the quarterly planner, although I'm using my quarterly planner now, so I'm using it for Q4. What else? I don't know. I don't want to influence people, but I'm using a Jibon next year. I'm gonna try it
Mm,
out. Yeah, it's my first Jibon because I've seen it in bookstores since I used to travel a lot. So in 2019, I was like, "What is this Jibon?" And then I told myself, maybe I'll get in 2020, and then I got lazy. So 2022, 3 years
Fine.
later. What else? Non-negotiables. Let me see. I have probably concluded that with journaling, I am more of an A5 person. Hence, the diaries is A5. I also have one for next year. I used Hobonichi A6 this year. Last year, I used A5. I really wanted. See, I switch every year. I'm giving myself a hard time, but it's more of because I want to do. I'm super geeky. I really want to research on how my journaling process changes every year. Like last year for A5, I did so much collage work. That's really how my collage work sort of developed and maybe grown, I guess. And then this year, I found the A6 really small. So I'm going back to A5 next year. And then, what else? I also impulsively got an A6 Hobonichi Techo for next year, but I don't know if I want to use it for fountain pen ink swatching or mostly more for daily drawing. So I draw, but I don't really draw anymore. That's something I'm trying to get back into. Like I can be a creative person running a creative job, but like having a creative job, but I don't even have time to draw because I'm so busy with the business part, the administrative part. So yeah, I'm team A5 and A6 next year. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I still like A6 because it's a pocket friendly size, but also because I'm reusing one of my covers. I have a camp cover, and I was like, what? It's not even dirty, and it's so expensive. I'm like, let's normalize reusing Hobonichi covers. So I'm gonna reuse that
oh
for
my gosh,
next
I
year.
just have to do this. But when Jika and I were talking before this, before this recording, it's like I'm gonna tell Abby, see, I want to steal her camp cover.
It's true.
I'm really proud. I'm so happy I bought that. It's like,
Diba?
I actually regret not buying the week's version of that also. Because last year, actually the other day I was looking at my Teko Kaigi for 2020 and I had a plan B and I used my plan B instead of my plan A. That's why I have my Hobonichi cousin now. But I was supposed to get a week's. But yeah, the camp cover is it's the best. It's one of my
Mm.
favorite purchases ever.
Yeah, I've
I
been
wish I
thinking
could
about
like lend it to you, no, virtually. Wait,
It's
it's
okay. I enjoyed watching your video when you were using it. So oh my god, I'm so happy for people who have the it's so nice. You know what I've been doing now? I'm like I'm looking for that cover on Amazon.
is there?
On
I think they Hobonichi sells the covers on Amazon, but not from the previous years. No, I think
Yeah.
it's the current year. But I think you can buy old ones also, or from the spring ones, because some of the patrons I have, they bought the Ochi. What's the other one? The other cover is also nice. The calm one, like the beige one with like Japanese characters. It
yeah, yeah,
also
yeah.
came out at the same time this came out, so that was my debate. I actually regret not buying that, but I still like this one. So
Yes. Normalize
Yeah,
reusing covers.
yeah,
yes.
it's really expensive. It's quite an investment. So and besides, I didn't take it out, so it was just at home.
That's
Agree.
true. That's true. Yeah, now that I remember it, the reason why I didn't get that last year was because I was worried the cover on cover won't fit. And then
That
that's
was also
when
my
I saw
concern. And then I found out from another source, wow, source, that it fits. And I was like, what are they talking about? But I get it. It's very snug. But it
very
wasn't
soon.
hard to put in. And I was like, no, I need the cover for this. Knowing me, I'm super clumsy. I'm gonna get that dirty. So, yeah, the cover and cover fits. But yeah, because it's, I think, made of a different cloth versus their usual covers.
Oh.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I was able to say that I wanted to steal Abby's cover.
Hopefully, next time when we can have like a proper 10 meet or something, I'll
Oh
bring
my
that.
god.
I'll bring the
It was
camp cover.
Can you imagine having a live, real life recording with like 4 to 5 of us? I mean, you can invite Eunice over and it's gonna be like anarchy, but good anarchy. She's gonna be unboxing inks to the side. Abby's gonna be journaling. I'm just gonna, I don't know. Ryan's gonna open his Navy collection to the side, and that's gonna be beautiful. Oh gosh, gosh. But yeah,
I think we're down to our last segment. I think this was quite a long recording. We enjoyed so much our conversation with you,
yeah,
Abby.
hang out. Oh,
But I hope you're okay still doing the final segment, which is what we call as Noober Have I Ever. Is that
ever.
right, Chica? Yeah, we're doing
Super
this part
cute.
already. Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan made this segment. He's a king of wit, honestly. He also named Noob Discoveries. So I was like, genius, it's going in.
Okay, so for Noober Have I Ever, so we're gonna play a game. Well, basically, you just have to say yes or no to specific statements. So Noober Have I Ever done something, and then just let us know if it's yes or no. These are usually things that planner and journaling people commit. It could be good things, it could be bad things, but there's no judgment, right? I mean, we're all noobs. We all make mistakes sometimes when it comes to using our planners and our journals. Okay, so yes. So the first one. Are you nervous, Abby? Kidding.
I think I've committed a lot of mistakes. So let's bring it on.
Well, this is the part where we're humanizing you some more. So here we go.
Oh,
Never have I ever cut or injured myself while journaling.
Surprisingly, no.
what?
But I've spilled so much. Look, it's ink. Ink.
I
I
thought
always
you had
spill
a
ink.
tattoo.
Oh no. Looks like a tattoo ba? Sorry to disappoint. Someday wanna get a real tattoo. Maybe inks. Fountain pen ink. But
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yes. That's so uncommon to not get injured or
Yeah,
cut.
I haven't gotten injured. Surprisingly. I'm also shocked.
Amazing. Like, okay, like 5 moments, 5 seconds of silence, just like in awe of that.
Yeah, same.
Oh, next. Next Nuber have I ever. Okay, I think we actually already Abby somewhat answered this now. So we're gonna skip the second one. And go ahead and ask her about Nuber have I ever slept early on a busy shop or production day?
No, but I think there was a time that I was late for. Is this related? I was late for a journaling hangout, and then I think I was like, oh my gosh, I woke up at 9 and the hangout is like at 10. And of course, I have to get ready and set up the stuff. And yeah. Although usually I'd have like nightmares. Or that's why when it's shop update day, I have to be mentally ready. I already know what to expect. Um, but usually no, I haven't slept through shop updates. Usually I have a snack and like a drink while the shop update is happening, so it's a ritual,
I love
kinda.
it. Like, yeah, we're of the mindset also that when we check, certain things should be like accessible.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really disposition
You have to
setting,
be in a
right?
certain state. So for me, it's like calm and stuff.
Mhm.
So
I get that. I get that. Okay, so I think we're down to three. The third one and the last one, unless Ryan wants to add another. Or Ryan, what's our next noober? Noober.
Okay, the Noober have I ever, next statement is, not finished a planner or journals page.
I have not. N- Wait, what am I supposed to say? Yeah, I have had so many planners that I have never finished. It's sad, but I don't know. I think like there's some kind of like I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, or this is like psychological thing. I feel like there is some kind of relationship you have with your notebooks, and sorry, it's not working out. It's not you. It's me, or maybe it's you. I don't know. Um, yeah, I've had a lot of that. I think I feel like I even finish journals more than I finish planners. Because
Mhm.
when a planner doesn't work with me, for example, as I mentioned, I'm very particular with planning. It's my whole obsession with planning has gotten out of hand. But everything I do, I really have to plan. So if a planner can't help me achieve that, I don't know what to do with it anymore, or like I usually convert it though to something else. For example, so my cousin now, I don't use the weekly pages, but earlier today I was watching Ink since it's the Moy River paper, so I could still use it. So I'm still repurposing it somehow. And then the daily pages, I write quotes there from articles I've picked up or some sort of I still try to add something. Another hack though for like not finishing journals or planners is I would mark, for example, I think I had an old roll band that I never used and then I only used 10 pages. I still reused it like 2 years later. I'm like, wow, thanks Pas Abby for keeping it. And I finished the whole journal. So I think it really helps to have, I guess that's why people have stocks of notebooks to like, oh, what's next to use for their needs.
Well, I feel reassured because
Yeah,
again,
I think it's normal for people to not. I know it's a waste of paper, but maybe a solution there would be to find another purpose for it. For example, like planners, if you don't want to use it anymore, maybe you can use it for journaling or like stick stuff on it. If you don't mind, then that's totally fine. You can always. I think the thing about for me for like planners and journals is you can always assign a specific like reason why you're going to use it, and then if it doesn't work out after a month or so, then you can change it because it's your notebook, you bought it, you can decide on that.
okay. I'm a
This
bit
is
in awe. I'm a bit in
Abby
awe.
being a teacher. Oh my gosh, that was a very teacher moment.
Journaling 101, lol.
Yeah, because social media makes it seem like, it's like a long-term commitment. And 1 year is really hard to commit to if you think about it. Kasi nga, yun nga, social media, thanks Facebook, things that happen, So that's really affirming. Sakto siya. I guess it's a great way to close. Are we done? Like to close our episode? Because that's really ending things on a high note. So don't put pressure on yourselves, guys. You're doing great work. You're doing great
Yeah.
journaling and planning pa rin, and the Abbey Sy vouch for that. She's like,
Yeah, and can I add also, like, I think
hola.
with journaling now, people get so intimidated with starting a page or like, oh, it has to look so good. La, la. And I think, I've been doing it for a very long time. I think what I always tell people, and I want to tell your listeners and to everyone listening, is that, journaling is a journey that is yours. Like, you don't have to, you know, oh, it has to look good because it has to go on Instagram for the aesthetic. I get it, but there's a time and place for that. But if you really want to connect with yourself or like experience the benefits, I feel like I'm like I don't know where we got this joke, but on Patreon someone was saying like we're kind of like a cult, like yes, get into journaling. We're gonna but anyway, I think to experience the full benefits of journaling, not just as a creative tool, but like, you know, as a tool for self-discovery, for mental health and all these things. It's really important to dive deep and ask yourself why you're doing it, and also, you know, pick out stationery that you like, that you can use, and try all the things. You know, no one is telling you to do this, do that. I think that's also something you can be selfish about. Like your preferences for journals do not have to matter to other people. Like it's only for you. I know that's something I learned also from you know, collecting fountain pens. Like people will say this ink is ugly, this ink they don't like. I like it. Sorry. You know, that kind of thing. Like you have to really be um how do you say that? Like you have to really stand your ground, because it's really your preferences, and how that's, I guess that's also how I grew my preferences with stationery, you know, the creators I like to support, and the things I own. So I think that always has to pass the, what do you call that these days, vibe check? Maybe the Abby check for me because it's my life. You know, for Jika it's Jika check, Ryan check. I don't know, the vibe check. You know, things
That's
Gen Z
correct.
people say these days. Passing the vibe check. So yeah.
Oh God. Okay, so vibe check na tayo, guys. Vibe check for a Tuesday night when we're recording this. Thank you so much, Abby,
Thank
talaga,
you. I had
for coming
fun.
on, and like we can hang out even if it's not for an episode. We're gonna join
Ah,
your journal
yeah.
hangouts too. And we just really appreciate it. I never thought that being selfish, quote unquote, diba, about my own priorities and my own journaling habits and acquisitions would actually sound like a good idea. And a selfless to myself. Basta, okay, I am no words. Okay, Ryan, your turn to say goodbye.
Yes. At this point, I think Abby, if you'd like to mention the links or the spaces that our listeners can go to so that they get to have access to your content, like your Patreon, your YouTube, and a lot of other channels.
Sure. So you can find me on YouTube and Instagram. It's Abbey Sy. So Abbey, like Abbey Road, Abbey Sy. And then my shop is abbeysy.store. And then for Patreon, it's patreon.com/abbeysy. And then our community page for more ideas and inspiration, you want to get into creativity and living a creative life, it's at alwaysbecreating.art on Instagram. So I hope you can check that out and give us a follow.
Yay!
Aw,
Yay!
yay! I
It's
don't know.
our
That is it for our episode. We're so bad at goodbyes, but we gotta say it now because it's a school night and Abby needs sleep too. So bye guys. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.